established in about 2008. The program is designed to provide support to ex-offenders by identifying both physical and behavioral health needs. So we have licensed staff on board who are licensed as social workers, who are also licensed counselors. Those staff bring individuals in from all walks of life. Those people may have been in the community for 10 to 20 years. Those people are recently released from the Joint Processing. How many people are familiar with the Joint Processing Center?
Sure. The Joint Processing Center is located at the intersection of San Jacinto and Baker Street, downtown, where all the big jails are. So what was happening years ago is that whenever a person would get arrested, they would book them, take them to Mackay Road, take them to Baker Street, and there's different agencies, the Sheriff Department, the Constable's Office, and the Houston Police Department, and those communication systems did not communicate with one another. The Houston Health Department has a staff person at every day, because whenever a person is coming home from the county jail, there are services that they're needed, like Ms. Moore talked about this morning. Whether it's a behavioral health service, mental health service, clothing, housing, things of that nature. We're there to do an assessment to help them get back on their feet. So when we talk about reintegration, reentry, what we're talking about is helping a person reintegrate back into the community successfully. One thing that Mr. Lexman is going to talk about shortly is that we know that over 15,000 people are released from the state jails, from the prisons every year, back into this community. The north side, the south side, the east side, the west side. We know that. So the question is, what type of person do you want living next to you? Do you want a person who's going to be law-abiding, who can get a job, as Ms. Lexman stated, keep a job, and be a law-abiding citizen, and as a man or woman, be that provider for your family, so you can back up into that system, recirculate back into the Joint Processing Center, do it all over again.
So the purpose of kind of going into what the Joint Processing Center does or what they provide is because there are a number of community-based organizations that are there in the Joint Processing Center that are along with us. Now, the other part of that is that it requires not just government entities to do the work that's there in the Joint Processing Center, or JPC. When people leave there, they have to have somewhere to go. They have to have some sort of support that's out in the community, because once they leave the government systems, they need the support from the community. The community is everybody sitting in this room. And so we need organizations and we need faith-based communities to support those people who are coming home. Okay? And so some of the program components, they include healthcare services, life skills, supportive housing, resources, family reunification, and workforce development. Okay, and then I have information about some of our outcomes for 2018. During 2018, just some of the demographics that we touched. 58% of the people enrolled in our program were African American males. That's more than half of the people that were enrolled in our program. 18% were African American females. So you can imagine what that means. Just about 76% of the people that were coming through our program were African American or people of color. And so what that says is that we have to do something as a community that really affects what we see coming through the doors of recidivism or the doors of incarceration, because it's really touching people of color. And so that's an outcry for faith-based communities, government, community organizations to really affect change in incarceration.
And to add to that, just going back a little bit and dig a little bit deeper. Anybody ever heard the phrase, "You're in the system now"? Anybody ever heard that phrase before? You're in the system. What does that mean to you when you hear somebody say, "Hey, you're in the system now"? Anybody?
You've been to jail, you're on welfare.
Okay. You're in the jail. Yes, ma'am. In the system. When you're born in the system. Now, we talked about the Joint Processing Center a few moments ago. All these entities that's part of the Joint Processing Center. So there's a way that they identify you and myself when we are in the system. That way is through your date of birth. Now, there are some people who may have the same date of birth, correct? So that's one way that you're identified in the system is your date of birth. And once you're born, at some point, the health department, vital statistics, to come by and do all this information later on down the road, you can get what? A social security number that's unique to you, correct? I don't know anybody who has the same social security number. They do, it may be some other issues going on there. Amen? Okay? So, but when you are ever arrested, whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony, going into the system is at an all-time high level. Because when you're arrested, not only are you identified by your date of birth, your social security number, in the city of Houston, Harris County, it's a number called a SPIN number. Anybody heard of a SPIN number? SPN, Systems Persons Number. That's one way they identify you. Another number is whoever arrested you. If it's the Houston Police Department, now you have an HPD number. If it's the Harris Sheriff Department number, you have an HCSO number. And then regardless who arrests you, there's a DPS number. There's an SID number, SID, Systems Identification Number. There's a CJIS number. There's an FBI number. So when you're in the system, you're in the system. So you can only imagine the insurmountable obstacles one has to go through when they're coming out of an institution back into society trying to get a job. Because when they run you, guess what? You're in the system. You're in the system. So that's the challenge that we have, and that's why we need partners like Delta Family and other partners that we have throughout the city and we would like to create throughout the city so we can collaborate and build up a community where we will not judge people by some decisions that they made years ago. What we're trying to get them is to where we're trying to get them to go forward, not past, but forward. Amen?
Amen.
Amen.
There is good news.
Amen. Amen.
There is hopeful news because as of 2018, we have had some people to do some incredibly great things. We've been so proud. We have graduation twice a year. So if you're just like college or high school graduation, we have graduations twice a year, and that's in May and in December. We invite all of you guys to come out and be a part of that and celebrate those people who have accomplished such great things. Now, I'll tell you that in the as a part of the graduation, not everybody is there because some people are out working. And we don't want anybody to miss a day of work to be a part of graduation necessarily. Their jobs will let them off to be a part of graduation, that's great, but we want them to work. We want to see them successful. We want to see them do great things, right? But I'll give you a little bit of information about some of those people who graduated during 2018. So, one of the things that I mentioned earlier was that we have a life skills component. That's an evidence-based curriculum. Of the 172 individuals who graduated, they completed 11,547 hours of life skills classes. Of those individuals also, 15 of those participated and completed vocational training, and those trainings included forklift operation, CDL licensure, welding, culinary arts, and there were some other options that they completed, but they got skills that will prepare them to enter the workforce. We had at least 80% of those who completed the program to become employed. And 4 of them work towards entrepreneurial opportunities for themselves. And that's what will really help to push the ladies and gentlemen who are part of our program forward. Because we don't want people to get stuck in the idea if somebody won't give you a job, create a job for yourself. There's an opportunity to create opportunities for yourselves. And we'll help you with that. And then there is something called the Clean Slate Initiative. Is anybody familiar with the Clean Slate Initiative? No. Okay. Somebody is. One person. Okay, so I'll let Mr. Bill talk a little more about the Clean Slate Initiative.
So again, partnerships are great, especially when you have partners who can deliver. So every legislation session, different laws, bills are introduced and laws are enacted. And September 1st, those laws come into action. So there are certain offenses that can be expunged once the case is what they call disposed of, right? So we partner with a law firm that would come to our site and they would go through the criminal history of the people that are in the system, right? And they will expunge those records, which means that it never happened. And legally, on a questionnaire or application, if that case has been expunged, the question is, have you ever been arrested or charged with offense? Legally, you can say no. So all those entities that I talked about earlier, DPS, FBI, SID number, all those agencies that had any involvement with that case, imagine a virus going to a computer and erasing your file, and there's no trace of it. So we work with individuals who never thought that certain things in their criminal record would ever come off. Like they passed a law a few years ago that certain theft convictions can be expunged if it's your only one. Now, let me tell you a thing about a theft case. Some people think, well, it's just a little misdemeanor theft. You know, I was at JCPenney, I stole a $50 shirt, and what would happen is that you get a lawyer, court-appointed lawyer maybe. I have much respect for lawyers, I really do. And they say, I got a great deal for you. They lock you up on a Friday night. You spend Friday night in jail, Saturday night, Sunday. Monday morning, you see the judge said, I got a great deal for you. I give you 4 days to county jail and give you credit for it. You're not on paper, you can go home. A lot of people take that deal, right, because they don't want to be on paper. And they say, or I can give you a 1-year deferred adjudication. You have to do an alcohol drug evaluation, community service, pay fines, court costs, the whole 9 yards. I'm not trying to be on paper. So they take the jail time credit. Well, here's the problem with that. In the state of Texas, theft is considered an offense of moral turpitude. It goes against your character. So any job that requires you to have a license, whether it's a real estate agent, a teacher, a lawyer, forget about it. In the state of Texas, as the law stands right now. So the beautiful thing about having a partnership with certain law firms is that they can come in, they can have that expunged. Okay, there's another thing that's called petition the court for non-disclosure of records. So if you have a misdemeanor, if it's 2 years old or less, up to 2 years, you can have that sealed. Felonies after 5 years, they can be sealed. But these things cost a lot of money that people don't have. Anywhere from $1,500 on up to $5,000, right? Well, partnerships, they do it pro bono. It's on the house. You've been blessed. You don't have to pay for it, right? So we work hard at building these collaborations so we provide these services because we know these are barriers that keep people from getting housing, keep people from getting jobs, keep people from becoming a student, going back to school, getting a college education because you got this conviction in your record. So that's what the Clean Slate Initiative does. It expunges or even seals criminal records that people who are non-government entities cannot see. So if the record is sealed, it's there. A lot of times they tell you, hey, if you take this deferred, it won't show up, nobody will never see it. That's not true. It will be there and it will be seen by law enforcement officers and anybody unless you petition the court to have it sealed. It's there, but unless you're a government entity, you cannot see it. So when you're trying to get an apartment, it's there, they can't see it if it's sealed. If it's expunged, no one can see it. It's gone away. So that's what the Clean Slate Initiative is. Any questions about the Clean Slate Initiative? Is there a question right there? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, he carries his
seal.
So he went to his girlfriend's job afterwards. Okay, when he placed the gun on the seat.
Okay.
Okay, it was the dark at night. So what happened was, he happened to see the gun sitting on the seat, but my grandson did not know, that he was supposed to remove the casing, the bullet thing.
Yes, ma'am.
And, that it wouldn't be seen.
Yes, ma'am.
So he went to jail.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when he went to jail and stuff, I had to be the one of age to go sign papers, different.
Yes, ma'am.
So what happened is, he was trying to get different things. They saw that on his record.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I was wondering as far as him getting a partner, because this is what he's trying to do now. And I was surprised as far as him with, like, doing that. How would that, affect him? It was just that they put on his thing about, just having a gun on the seat.
Right.
Okay, so, I mean, how would that, affect, what could he do? I could let him know, as far as not affecting him trying to get his thing.
Yes, ma'am. We can definitely talk offline about that, but the situation, it depends if you receive jail time, which means you take a straight conviction, if it was a deferred adjudication, and when it comes to ATF, I call it tobacco and firearms, there's federal laws that tells you when you can possess a gun again, if you can never possess a weapon again. But real quickly, I just want to touch briefly on possession. Okay, possession, not ownership, okay? So whether it's a gun, whether it's weapons, so it wasn't my weed, whatever the case may be. They don't have to prove that it was yours. Because you don't have to prove ownership. You have to prove possession. It was in close proximity, right? So when it comes to that possession, whether the gun was on this person, next to him or whatever, only thing you have to prove is that it was in close proximity, possession. But I'll be more than happy to talk with you offline about what we can do with that situation.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So, something that I didn't mention, I wanted to talk a little bit about the classes, because one of the things that I mentioned before was that it's not just about individuals getting a job, it's about them keeping a job. And so there are key components to people keeping jobs or starting businesses and maintaining those businesses and helping them to grow. So there are a few basic things that we've learned that really help people to get to where they need to be and excel. They include anger management. That's one of the top things that people need that we've seen when they come out of incarceration. Decision making. That's really, really important. Just about making good decisions. Eliminating the incarceration mentality. That's really important. So we really work hard on that. And then family reunification. We have those licensed counselors that are there who work not only with the individual who's been incarcerated, but also with the family. Because the person who became incarcerated is not always the person who comes back home. Okay? So I want to make sure that I mention that. And then we wanted to highlight our recidivism rate. So when Texas usually looks at 3 years of incarceration, and so when we talk about recidivism, the way Texas defines it, their recidivism rate in prison is about 21%.
And what does recidivism
So
mean?
that's a great question. Recidivism is the rate at which people return back to prison or incarceration. And so in this case, we're going to look at returning back to prison or having a new arrest. And so for the City of Houston Reentry Network Program, our rate of recidivism or rearrest is compared to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Our rate of recidivism or rearrest is 14.7% for rearrest, and then 9.5% for those people who are reincarcerated. So that is considerably lower than what the state of Texas has. So all that to say, our program has really worked. We've seen some really good outcomes from those people who are actively involved in our program. Okay? So, okay, and so we just have a little diagram here about how our program works. So if somebody were to come to our doors, and we allow people to come to our doors Monday through Thursday, primarily because Friday is really a training day, so we try to get in all our trainings and all our meetings on Fridays. But if somebody needs our help, even on Friday, we ask them to go ahead and come in. Our program is open 8:30 to 3:30 every day, for intakes. Individual can come in, they'll be assessed so we can determine their needs. And then we ask people, what do you see as helping you to become successful now that you're out in the community? How can we help you become successful? We do a registration, we do an orientation, we invite people to come in and just take a look at our classes. Because the one thing that we realize, if you come to a class, you're going to be hooked. You're not going to want to leave. We've seen people that come in that are the most resistant, who come into one class and say, this is not what I thought it was going to be. So once they come in and get the assessment, they're connected to a case manager. We determine what other services that they need, what other services their family needs. How can we help your children? We have people who have not been able to talk to their children, their mothers, their fathers, their mentors. They've not been able to connect with anybody. We had somebody who's come in after more than 30 years of incarceration, and they're just trying to tiptoe their way through. And so it's a whole different kind of environment once you've been incarcerated for more than 30 years. You haven't seen a phone that looks like a phone with no buttons on it. You're expected to go and pump gas on the electric pump, and then you look around and you see somebody staring at you, and you're wondering why. Well, they haven't seen all these things in the last 30 years. Or they're on the bus with you, and you can't figure out why they don't know to drop the change or to slide the card. They haven't seen it. They don't know how to operate. And so it becomes more comfortable to be inside. And so these are the kinds of mentalities that we're working on. We have ongoing counseling, life skills, job development, and then we do follow-up for 90 days after individuals have completed our program. And that includes peer support and follow-up counseling with our case managers. You'll see here a list of our classes. This is our class schedule. This is just a sample just so that you'll know what's going on in our program.
So the classroom component, our program is actually, it's 4 weeks. We're not the typical reentry program where you come in there 1 or 2. I'm not knocking any program, just saying what we do. You don't come there, it's not 1 or 2 days, and that's not going to help you be self-sustaining, right? So it's a 4-week component. And what we focus on, like Ms. Election stated, is that the way you had to think and survive in prison, it's not going to work in this world. The thinking process has to change. So that is the #1 indicator whether or not a person is going to actually get arrested for anything. It's the way you think. It's that they call it criminal thinking. The second is the people you hang around, places you go. Back in grade school, we learned about the nouns, right? People, places, and things. But we challenge them, you want to change your outcomes, change what? The nouns in your life. The people, the places, and the things, right? So we focus, like Ms. Selectman said, on that anger management. Because everybody who go to prison is not guilty. We see people being exonerated all the time, right? So there's a lot of anger issues. There's anger issues because I missed my son's birthday for the last 10 years. I wasn't there to walk my daughter across a field when she was on the prom court or whatever. So that's a lot. I can't get a job. There's a lot of anger and there's a lot of frustration. So we work a lot with that. Effective decision making. Life skills just because you and I have been blessed to have people who kind of guide us and make sure we have a value system and morals and things like that. Don't take for granted that everybody had that blessing, that privilege. It doesn't happen all the time. So when we have someone in our classroom setting, we focus on basic life skills, things that you will need to know in order to conform in society, okay? So again, that program is 4 weeks. The selection spoke about the job readiness, workforce development piece. We have a partnership with the Texas Workforce Commission where they come on site twice per month, and we do mock interviews. We do resume writing. We help them seek jobs and things of that nature. So we take a holistic approach. We really work from the inside out, outside in, and all around. And I'm going to say this, we have amazing staff. We pray for staff to come on board, right? And we pray that we are the hands and feet of Jesus Christ when people come to that building. Because they may not come to a facility as beautiful as this. They may not come to a house of God at all. The only Jesus they may see is the Jesus and the staff. So we have to have the mind of Christ when we deal with his people. Because we're not going to judge them. He said, feed them till I come back. So we're going to feed them manna from heaven. We're going to love them. We're not going to judge them. We're going to help them get what we're just not going to do that. That's not what we're about. We're located at 4802 Lockwood. We're coming in this morning with the gentleman who's going to be speaking later. And Miss Cynthia was saying, my God, Mr. Bill, does he have to go through all of this just to get over there? I mean, that traffic on 610, these 290, it's a monster, right? So, and she said, my God, Mr. Bill, this young man has been coming here, and he's going to talk about himself, but he wants it. He wants it, and we want it for him, but guess what? He wants it even more than we want it for him. So he's destined for success because he wanted it, we want him to have it. Got the Holy Spirit guiding this thing, so it's a perfect formula for success.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to move through the rest of this pretty quickly because I want to move straight into Mr. Batiste is going to come and speak with you guys. What you just saw was just the staff functions. That's just primarily what we do as a part of our program. You'll see a list of here the services that we provide as well as our partners. And this is just an image or images of one of our graduations. This is primarily what we do. And we love for you to be a part of this. We'd love to see an image with you and some of our participants here. This is another image of who we are. This is us in the classroom. This is us just working with those people who come to our program. This last image is what we do. What we do is help people. We help them to get to where they want to be. And this is what we believe. We believe that it all starts with you. It's never too late to be whoever you want to be. Ultimately, the choice is yours. Now, I want to bring forward Mr. Batiste. One of the things that I want to share with you guys is that everybody who comes to our program is there by choice. Nobody is court ordered. Nobody is mandated. Nobody is forced. Parole does not stipulate it. They are there because they want to be there. Mr. Batiste is one of the individuals who made the choice to come and be a part of our program because he wanted to change his life. I'll let Mr. Batiste tell you a little bit about himself and how the community can help him to successfully reintegrate. Thank you so much for coming.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? All praises to the Most High first, and His Son, our Savior, Messiah Christ. Gratitude to Pastor August for opening the doors for us this morning to have this event. Gratitude to the representatives from the city of Houston and CRNP for choosing me to stand before you today. Before I really get into telling my story as it says on the agenda, I want to read a poem to you all that I wrote last week. One of our instructors, Miss Mary, beautiful spirit, wonderful woman. She kind of hit us off guard I believe that was last Thursday. She wanted us to write something about what does a second chance mean to us as far as where we're going now and where we came from. So I'm going to share this with you and then I'll get into the story. It's called Second Chance. I thought it was over. I thought I had no means towards redemption. Then I was given a second chance. Peace is gloomy and reality is storm. But through the rain, I was given a better glance. I hit a wall that broke me up, discombobulated, fractured mentally, yet my promise was enhanced. The system caged me, stoned me for my sins, and set fire towards my life. But like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, I found a new praise dance. I almost gave up. Thought of tripping into a backslide, gained stability from the dark side. But CRNP gave me a lift on a righteous bus ride. I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me. I just have to grab it when he reaches hand. Fool me once, shame on me. But nothing and no one can make me neglect what it means to have a second chance. Thank you. So I want to give y'all a quick background. When Mr. Bell called me yesterday, I don't really know he knew he was going to put on the mic today, to be honest with you. But Quick background of me. My name is Matthew Batiste. To most of my peers, loved ones, and friends, they call me Preach. That's been my nickname since I was 15 years old. I was a youth minister in high school. Started morning prayer in my high school. I was the spiritual background. I was the spiritual leader of my peers as a youth. Wednesday nights, I was already preaching sermons. Some Sundays, I actually stood before my peers and preached. I was already in that lane before things went left. So I'm saying that to let you know I am the direct image of someone whose life can just go into disarray out of nowhere. I come from a very good background. 2-parent home, loving mother, loving father, older brother who coincides with me in every way. I'm a drummer, my older brother's a keyboardist. I sing, he writes. We coincide with each other in every way. So I come from a very, very loving background. I don't come from a broken home. I do come from a predominantly black community, like most of us do. The hood, the ghetto, whatever you want to call it. But inside my house was like the Huxtables. When I stepped outside, things were a little different. But inside my home, I was like the Huxtables. So I'm not your typical person that you would see standing before you today as a convicted felon. My father passed in 2012. I went left. I went completely left. I had a lot of aspirations. I tell people when they ask me what happened with me, I say, honestly, I was trying to expedite my aspirations the wrong way. That's literally why I went. I was never a street-minded person. I'm not a gangster. I'm not none of that kind of stuff. Never ever been that. Even amongst those kind of people, they called me Preach. You couldn't touch me. I could go anywhere in my community and I was good with everybody because I wasn't seen as someone who represented negativity. I was always seen as someone that uplifted my peers. I was always seen as that person. My peers come to me for prayer, tell me about their life, all this kind of stuff. So I was always seen in that aspect. So when I went left, I had to understand there was a whole lot of people I took with me without knowing. I didn't even know it. While I was locked up, my mom would call me. Peers would call my mom and tell my mom, like, Matt brought me to Christ. So it tripped them out when I went left. It messed a lot of people up. And I had to go back to those people and make corrections to bring them back to where they need to be. Literally. And I'm saying that to say, everybody who goes through this, like Mr. Bell said, everybody who goes through is not really a criminal. All of us aren't out here to really be negative people. Some of us are just trying to survive. In my case, when my father died, I didn't know where to go. I was a daddy's boy. There's not a lot of men my age that can say that today. I was a daddy's boy. Loved them to death. So it turned me. It turned me bad. Really, really, really bad. I never thought about selling drugs. But I was doing youth events. So even in my negativity, I still had a positive aspect. I still was never the same as everybody else. Even in my negativity, I had a positive aspect. I wanted to throw high school step shows. Didn't have the funds to do it. I couldn't get grants. I couldn't get loans. So I chose the wrong route to fund something positive. And I got caught up. I served a year. And that year, I'm a father. I'm a father of 3 sons with a baby on the way right now. I was away from my sons a whole year. They were tripping. Bad. People don't know, just because your babies is little don't mean they not going to react. My babies knew I was gone. They knew they wasn't seeing their dad, and they were acting out. The time I was locked up, my kids went through 2 schools. They got put out of one, had to go to another one in reaction to not seeing me, not being around me, not feeling me. They can't talk to me, they can't see daddy. There's a lot of brothers in them same situations that don't have what I had when I came home. When I came home, I had a loving family to come home to. I had a loving family to come home to. My family didn't cut me off because I'm not a mistake maker like that. I screwed up, but I'm not the type of person that's over and over again making mistakes. So I had loved ones who wrapped me up when I came home. But there's a lot of brothers come home who do not have that kind of support. They don't. I'm currently in class with a brother Randall. He went in at 16 years old. He's 58 today. He went in at 16 years old. He did 35 years. Like how they were just talking, come home, and he see phones and all kind of new technology. He missed the whole wave. And now he's home trying to find work, still dealing with what he did at the age of 16. He's almost 60 today. You tell me you can't hire this guy because of something he did at 16 years old? And so people don't really understand the mindset of convicted felons when we come home and have to reintegrate back into the working field, to the work world, to reality, basically. Because in there, it's really not reality. That's not reality. It's your reality for the time being, but it's not reality. That's the jungle. It's not reality at all. Everything is facade inside there. Most people in there lying. I had a lot of respect when my pictures started coming because people were shocked that I was actually saying I really do what I really do. Everybody's a liar. Everybody got a story. Everybody. Like literally. So when we come home, for those who don't have that type of support, 9 times out of 10, now they gave you the numbers earlier. Yesterday, we went over the monthly numbers. 10,000 inmates come home. Out of that 10,000, 4,000 go back within 6 months. 4 to 10 ratio, 40%. And you better believe half of that 40% is a whole bunch of people look just like me. On the regular, it's a revolving door. Even when you inside, most of these brothers, while they inside, they have no thought of doing anything different when they get here. Because they feel it's already over with. I'm in this system, nobody gonna hire me when I get home anyway. As soon as I get home, I got babies, they need this, they need that. We're not thinking straight about, man, let me come home and just focus, settle down, be patient, wait on God. But people are not thinking about that when they come home. They thinking I gotta get on the ball. I done wasted enough time. I gotta get on the ball. So now we go out. I've been home since 2000. I came home 2017. I was able to find one job in the time I've been home. And a temporary for Halloween City. Go figure. I'm a man of God working at Halloween City. Because I need a check. Literally. Need a check. I ain't never celebrated Halloween. A day in my life, I'm working in the store, selling them their clothes. Crazy. Just because that's who would hire me. I've been unemployed since November. I've been given 100-something no's. No. I'm still moving, I'm still rocking, I'm still going. But everybody's not me. That's why I gave you my background first. I am different. The majority of the people in my predicament are nothing like me. They're nothing like me. A lot of them are some of my closest friends today. They're not me though. I understood I was never supposed to be where I was anyway. I was never supposed to be doing what I was doing anyway. That's the difference with me. Most of these guys are doing exactly what they feel they need to do. On a regular basis, I have an older cousin. This is who I was dealing with when I ended up being incarcerated. It was one of my older cousins. He is an 11-time felon. He's 39 years old. He has 3 kids. He's still hustling to this day. Because he feels there's nothing else to do. He hadn't had a job in over 10 years. He's been hustling on the streets since he was 13 years old. In his mind, he's not doing wrong. He's surviving. In his mind, most of these people's mind, that's how they're thinking. What we call criminal acts, they survive. It's just survival. It's no different than being inside those walls. It's survival mode. I'm not a gangster. So I had to figure out a way to survive without having to walk around and act like I'm somebody I'm not. I remember Richard Pryor watching a video with my dad about Richard Pryor when he said, I had to tell jokes. I'm not a fighter. You use what you know. I'm athletic. I'm a musician. I got through. I can play ball. When you can play ball, people give you a certain level of respect. I can run. People give you a certain level of respect. I can sing, I can rap, I can write, I can beat. So I got a certain level of respect while I was in there because of my gifts. All praise to the Most High. I don't know what I would do without my gifts. Because since I've been home, the only income I've had is playing drums. The one thing he gave me coming out the womb is what I survive off of today, right now. While I'm in what we call the waiting room, which is one of the best classes we've had thus far. Where I'm at right now is considered the waiting room. What do you do while you're in the waiting room? While you wait, are you going to be patient? Are you going to stay? Are you going to wait on God? Or are you going to try to make it happen yourself? Which one? Where are you going to go? This is the most detrimental stage right here where I'm at. Because I'm in class. But you better believe there's people around me like you still in class. Are they paying you? And when I can finish this class, most high be willing, I start school next Monday for the Houston School of Carpentry electrical program. I believe that already happened. It's already done right now. I can pray that right now. But we need these programs. My mom used to laugh at me when I was younger, and my peers, like I say, we always was in the so-called hood. So my peers had so much like trauma going on. I used to tell my mama, I don't got a testimony. I ain't got a testimony. I ain't going through nothing. My friends, he ain't got no daddy, he ain't got no mama, they ain't got no food, they don't, like, my peers was struggling so much, and I'm like, I don't have a testimony. My mama laughed at me when I came home. I bet you got a testimony now. Literally. I bet you got something to talk about now. The plan wasn't to actually go get the testimony, though. Like, that was my plan. But it happened the way it happened, because guess what? Look where I'm standing now.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Most High gonna use me. Now he can use me in a way that I felt he couldn't use me as a youth.
Come on, man.
Because as a youth, I had not done nothing. I'm just preached. Nobody's looking at preach like he know where I've been. He's not a church boy. He don't know nothing about these streets. He don't know nothing about... You can't tell me that today. I can look you in your face and tell you tripping. Literally. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. You tripping. And when I tell my friends and my peers and other guys that's in my situation, where I'm at right now, these doors are open to anybody.
Amen.
They open to anybody. And I run in their background to come to CRNP. They don't run your background to know who you are, to know how to help you. To know how to help you. To know what they need to do to help you get further. But it's outlets. I'm literally an advocate now to tell brothers when they come home, there's a better way. You don't have to go back to what you were doing to initially get the F. Because once you get that F, life changes. We just used to think it was like boogeyman stories or something. Till you're really in it, you don't really know. When you walking somewhere and you're sitting in an interview and the lady finally pulls up your background and you're so confident. You're sitting there so confident, like, I did this, got this. Oh, sir, what I see. Here we go. Here we go. Some of us dealing with things on our backgrounds like Mr. Randall 30 years ago. And they won't let it go. So we get programs like this. Because what we can't do on our own, they can get in them doors for us. That's why these programs are extremely important, especially here, where you have millions. We live in the state of Texas, one of the #1 states for incarceration. Mostly black and brown people, for the most part. Literally. When you're inside of it, that's what we are. We black and brown, for the most part. We not the pepper. You know, it's not like that now. That's just it. That's what it is. A blend of black and brown, all day, every day. Revolving door. If you went there long enough, you'll see people come in, go out, and come right back in. I was there a year. I've seen multiple people come in and out in a year's time. You just can't get it together. Most people are scared of these types of programs because they don't believe in them. They don't believe in them. They don't really think people is out here really pushing for them to do better. Once you get that F, you think the whole world just cuts you off. I'm learning now that's not true. Because I thought the same way. When I say life, real life is reality, it's a storm. It's a storm. Peace is gloomy. That's real. numbers down like yesterday. Because it has to happen. There's way too many of us in there. There's a whole lot of kids out here with no fathers. Not because they dead, because they gone. They're away. They right here, but they not here. And I dealt with that. My 6-year-old son, he let me feel it when I came home. It looked like he wanted to curse at me or something when I got home. Like, where you been? What are you doing? And in our minds, we thinking we doing this to provide for our children until you go home. That same cousin I told you about just had to turn himself back in for another 9 to 15 months. So you just made you some good money. Now that just went on the lawyer, your books, your comments, all that's gone. You thought you did it for the kids. By the time you get home, all that money you claim you made for them gone. They didn't see $1 of it. That same thing happened in my situation. I didn't go in broke. I came home broke. Literally. Came home broke. I was all for nothing. It was all for nothing. It's like a blank spot in the back of my mind. It's almost feels like a dream. I can't believe I went through that. I can't believe it. When they say mentally, people don't come home. The same person that went in is not the same person that come home. Because the traumas that go on in there, my last time being incarcerated, I was a floor worker. I was a floor worker. 02191042. I never forget it. And they don't even say the whole number. Your name is just the last 3, 042. That's your name. 042. They give you the last 3 numbers. While I was a floor worker, every unit I walked into, rumble, rumble, rumble. I'm cleaning up swabs and globs of blood. Rumble, 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 all day long. So by the time you come home, you've really been in the zoo. It's like you've really been in the zoo. Now you got to come back to the free world. Like what to do? All day long, you can't you're sleeping in cold sweats. People fighting in the middle of the night. You just never know what's going on. People getting raped. There's so much stuff going on. You don't have time to sit back and just think about reality in real life. All you're thinking about is the next day. A lot of guys become drug addicts while they're in there because it makes the time go by when you can sleep. So they get addicted to sleeping pills and whatnot, just to sleep because it makes the time go fast. Because when you can't sleep in there, it feels like a century when you can't go to sleep. So it's so much stuff that happens even in a short amount of time. There's a lot of things that happen. People's minds really get warped. So a lot of them do not come home prepared to be reintegrated back into society. Programs like this will make that better. The more and more it goes. The fact that I never knew about it, you better believe I'm on my face, I'm on my social media live right now. We have that. Y'all, you're not by yourself because we the testimonies. You the help, we the testimony. We learned yesterday, my testimony is not for me. My testimony is for the next person. And then his testimony, and so on and so on and so on. But the more testimonies we gain, the more people we get. That's how they work. It's a revolving door. It's just time to make the revolving door positive and not negative. It's been negative long enough, long enough. Felons ain't demons. They just people. I'm somebody's son. I'm somebody's grandson. I'm somebody's nephew. I'm somebody's father. I'm somebody's husband. Vice versa. Some of you got a son in there. Some of you got a grandson in there. Some of you got a nephew in there. These are people. We people. We got to survive in the same world as everybody else. You can't tell a man his children not allowed to eat because he got an F on his record. The kid didn't do it. He got nothing to do with it. He got a struggle. And that's how people feel. When I first came home, I can admit I slipped up one more time. When I first came home. I came home, I was elated. Well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And 4 months passed, I hadn't learned about the waiting room yet.
I just learned about that yesterday. So I didn't know about the waiting room yet. Stinky thinking. This is all the stuff I've learned in the last, I'm in my last week this week. I just learned this. When I came home, I didn't know none of that was in my head. That first 4 months I came home, I was booking it. Booking. Got nothing. I went right back to the clock. And in less than a month, I was one of the 4,000. I spent the whole Hurricane Harvey in Houston County Jail. I was in there until they cleaned the streets up. I went in 2 weeks before the storm hit, came home when the street was clean. That's how long I was there. Most High spanked me really, really good. Really, really good. That was enough. That was enough for me. Now I'm just ready to move forward, and I'm going there. I'm going there. I thank y'all for giving me some time. And I mean, if my words has touched anybody, I promise you, whatever you choose to do, it is not in vain. It's not in vain. Because there's way more brothers out here who do not have my background and do not have my type of mind. There's a lot of them out here. And I thank you. All praise to the Most High, Pastor. Get your mic back. Yes, sir. Thank you.
I just want to come in and just intervene just shortly. We do have pastors here that are with the African American Pastors Fellowship that are here. And the reason why we wanted to have the bigger setting today was because this is vitally important.
Amen.
There's not a family here that's not impacted in some form of Brother Batiste's story.
Amen. Amen.
And the city of Houston have a program to help the young men and women to move forward. But if we don't know about the programs, then how can we help that young man or young woman? What we're going to do, we have another half an hour, about 20 minutes before we break for lunch, if y'all don't mind. So I got a 20-minute window for you guys to come back and do some more. So at 11:30. And for those who normally come on a Tuesday, I'm so glad you're here. We're all going to be eating at 11:30. You don't have to worry about a line right now. We'll do table to table, and we got enough food for absolutely everybody. So everybody's going to eat extremely well today.
Amen.
Amen? Amen. We got smothered raccoon. We got we got some tripe. Y'all know what tripe is, right? They got a big old pot of chitlins. Come on, I say amen. There's enough for everybody here, I promise you. Amen? Amen. But all the pastors, would you please stand if you're pastoring with our fellowship? Would you please stand? Because we definitely want to be able to know you here. And Pastor Clement, one of the things we want you guys to know, and as I was talking with Pastor John Ogletree, is that the city of Houston, in this department, they have grant dollars to partner with your church if you're working to help get young men and women back into the system. And this is why I had our group come and do a larger setting, because this is a ministry opportunity to help get young men and women back on their feet. Amen. Amen. And Brother Batiste, man, you need to, what church you're a part of?
None right now. I'm really just a drummer. My home church is Fallbrook, though.
Fallbrook?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you had a meeting with your pastor?
No, sir.
You'd have a meeting with your pastor. We love him. He's a part of our group, too. But listen, you got too much in you not to be heavily involved in the body of Christ. You got too much in you. And so there's more to do than just being a drummer.
Yes, sir.
Amen?
Amen.
There's more to do, and your testimony is powerful. Thank you for your transparency, and thank God for keeping you, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank God for keeping you. Amen. So what is coming up next, I'm not sure on your agenda.